Most DXPs today, not all, there's still some legacy systems, and you can certainly build things. I'll get a little geeky here. Server
That's the whole
side,
point.
yeah, a little server side. Where you have everything packed in the DXP, including the front end code. Most people now, including us, are building things more headless, where you
Hmm.
have the DXP and you have a series of APIs, and the front end is simply the shell of the design that's waiting to receive data from the API. I'll address that usage because it's far more common and what most people are adopting now.
Hmm.
In that case, you might have slow APIs. I asked the DXP for this information, and it takes forever to get it back, so the user's just waiting. We might have a spinner there. That's probably more an issue on how the data is being retrieved, probably more of an implementation of the DXP issue.
Yeah.
There are other things. You might simply have some front end issues where your JavaScript and your caching are not set in a way to where the site is actually going to perform optimally. And then you might have what I call not phantom issues, but issues. Remember that Google uses Core Web Vitals. They use Lighthouse. They use these tools to determine what they think your website's performing at, regardless of how it actually performs. And so, in the regards of doing that kind of testing, you might have things like severe layout shifts and things loading out of order where they're dinging your score, but the page may actually load quickly. I think in this age, performance really comes down to one of those key areas. And I'll be honest, for the more of the SEO side, it usually tends a good chunk to relate to how the front end code is done. But if you have issues getting data, then you're looking more to DXP side.
Right. So let's talk about that. So let's dive into the integration side of the equation, and kind of talk about how that could possibly erode trust or cause problems across the enterprise.
So one of the things we like to do at EX Squared, especially when we come in and we are either building a new DXP, if it's really old, we don't really upgrade them. We still build a new one. Is we look at what are you presenting on your website? What's data in, data out? And I always start there, even before getting into designs and all the things you actually see. What are you not seeing? If you're a product company, you probably have an ERP and you have a bunch of product there that you want to pull over and sell. Now, historically, 10, 15, 20 years ago, the content editors for the DXPs would literally type, oh, I need to sell a sprocket. It costs $10. They would fill all the fields in, upload a picture. These days, what we try to do is we try to connect to the ERP, pull all that base data, pricing, quantities, availabilities, etc. And then the marketing team is just putting in, the nice images, the copy, things of that nature.
Right.
So it simplifies their job so they can do work faster. But if that doesn't work, or it works really slow, then there's going to be a lot of frustration among these people who are told their lives are going to get easier with a new system. And it's not, because it's taking forever to come in.
And that affects adoption. That affects a number of different areas, I would imagine.
And then the data out is the other part. If you can't get, someone checks out and you can't get that data sent over to your system to actually process the order.
Right.
If you're collecting leads and you're not getting the information, then, your website's not giving you anything. Another severe problem. So I always look at the integrations and how the back end's operating these, to some extent in the beginning, even more than what the actual website's going to